wanted to be in my solo travel era. This is not what I meant.
Hard-headed. I don't learn.
I love your booty.
What the fuck?
I can't travel by myself. I can't sit on the plane for 10 hours. I can't. Well, baby, since you can't do that, I can. I'm out here by myself in Hawaii, and I sat on that 10-hour flight. Y'all better get y'all asses on them motherfucking planes and go by yourself. I said it once and I'll say it again. Get your ass on that motherfucking flight and take that solo trip. Stop waiting on them friends.
You guys, it's your girl Sandy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of The World is Ghetto. Yes, y'all, the world is still ghetto. Welcome back to my channel. This series today, I'm taking you guys down the journey of solo tripping. I know we've been going through a whole bunch of group trips, friends trips, and all that, while solo tripping has to be there so we can see, oh my god, y'all really going outside like that, or it's like, oh my god, I gotta schedule my solo trip. So it's a bunch of, you know, lining situations, looking from a different angle, from a different lens. So we're just gonna see a bunch of different perspectives, different cities, countries, people in different places of the world showcasing to us how they handle solo tripping, what went wrong in the solo trip, how they figure things out, would they ever solo trip again, do you love solo tripping or not? You know, it's just a bunch of questions that you could just, you know, you could add to your notes and be like, oh, I might actually, you know, do this or do not do this. So with all that being said, I want you to catch you guys up on Onaija Robinson. For those who don't know who Onaija Robinson is the girl who went viral when she was in Pakistan. Respect for Allah, respect for Allah, respect for girl. She was doing her big one in Pakistan. The last time that I talked to you guys, she went to Dubai and she tried to do her craziness in Dubai. But like in Dubai, we never heard nothing from her. So that's the last. I was like, damn, you guys, I will update you guys on the next trip. The next solo travel vacation, because I mean, she was solo traveling anyway, and everyone wanna wonder like, damn, where's she at? So we got the first video, actually will be the update of Onaija. Y'all will get to see her from her mouth, tell you guys where she's been, how it went, if she got arrested, what happened. So, and I'm glad to see that we have that update here so that, you know, I mean, we're filling in the dots, you know what I'm saying? It was like an incomplete sentence that we were finishing. So with that being said, y'all, thank you so much for everyone who's been supportive of my channel. We are growing every day. The engagement is beautiful. I would ask for those who are new here, please hit the subscribe. It really helps the algorithm, it helps the channel, it helps me, it motivates me to be like, damn, y'all really messing with me, let me get on the internet and start getting more topics for you. So if you want to be a member of the Slash by Sandy team, get in it. We're spicy, we sip tea on every other day. So that's another thing, turn on your post notifications, right? So with all that being said, y'all, let's just get right into this video. Oh my god,
Let me get a shot right now.
Hello. You look so respect for the line. So different. Oh my goodness. So there's so much to follow my coins, follow everything. Follow my manager, my agents, my glam squad.
Look over here.
Everybody. I love that. So listen, Onaija, we have to catch up with you. You have to tell us, where have you been? Everyone's asking, where have you been? Well, come on the sidewalk. Well, I'm glad to be back in New York. I'm glad about that. I'm happy about that. That's all I have to say for right now.
One more shot.
Follow my coins, follow everything. And nice to So we got to support some of these rumors, if that's okay with you, right? Yes, that's okay. So we want to know, did you end up going to jail, or was that not a thing? Like, because everyone said she went to jail, she was stuck in jail. Well, listen, I didn't go to jail. I was just stuck in Dubai. It was a situation that happened in Dubai that I couldn't get over at the time, and that was it. How long were you there for? I was there for a month. Wow. After Pakistan? After Pakistan, yes, I was. That is so crazy. Respect for the line, respect for the line.
I had the most terrifying experience in a hotel room last night / this morning, and this is just your friendly reminder, ladies, girls, if you are someone who travels alone for work or leisure, whatever it may be, do not ever skip a step in your hotel room security safety checklist. Last night I checked into a hotel room in Dallas, Texas, and whenever I got to the room, I did everything that you're supposed to do. I did a sweep of the room. I made sure there was no one hiding in the closet, behind the shower curtain, behind the actual curtains, looked for cameras, the whole bit, and everything was good. I had a great night. I double-bolted the door before I went to bed and whenever I got into the room, and had a great night's sleep. All was well. This morning I woke up around 6 a.m. I headed down to the lobby, so I left my room and grabbed a quick breakfast and brought that back up to the room just so I could grab a quick bite before I started getting ready for the day. So I ate breakfast really quickly in my room and then hopped in the shower. And the number one mistake I made from what happened is, the only thing I can imagine is I did not deadbolt the door back whenever I got back to my room with the breakfast. But like I said, it was around 6:15 at that time, so I'm still kind of half asleep, half waking up. I'm thinking about all the things that I need to get done today, everything going on, and I'm just sidetracked. I have no bad gut feelings that anything bad's gonna happen. I don't feel uneasy at all. So I hop in the shower and just go about my day. While I'm in the shower, I hear a hotel phone ring. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. It's like 6:20 maybe at this point. That's a little early for the hotel room to be calling. So I'm like, is that my phone? Is that the hotel? Like, what's going on? So I jump out of the shower real quick and then I don't hear the phone ring anymore. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Then I kind of talk myself out of it. I'm like, Lindsay, you're going crazy. Like, it's probably your neighbor's wake up call or something like that I was hearing. So I jump back in the shower, washing my hair, doing everything that I need to do, just going through the routine. And all of a sudden I hear like the faintest of knock and a door open and shut. And I'm like, that can't be my room, right? Like, I'm talking myself into it. And like I said, I'm in the bathroom, and luckily the bathroom has a door that closes. I'm in the shower and I'm like, I'm probably hearing my neighbor's door. That's probably what I'm hearing. That's probably what I heard whenever the phone rang. But this is when I kind of got a weird feeling. A weird feeling kind of started to happen within me. And I was like, huh, I don't have my phone on me. I don't have anything on me. I don't even have clothes. I have one towel and that's all I have. But I have a feeling that someone is in my room right now. So at this point, I do get like a pretty scary gut feeling, but I'm still trying to talk myself down. Maybe housekeeping is just like making an early run. And since I was in the shower, I have obviously no clothes. I don't have my phone on me. I don't have anything to protect myself. So I'm basically just really, really vulnerable. I opened the door of the bathroom hoping to see a housekeeper with her cart doing her rounds, but instead I see a man standing in the middle of my hotel room. From what I could tell, the man didn't have anything that said that he worked at the hotel. So whenever I saw him, I screamed and I said, "Get out." There might have been a curse word in there, but I screamed at the top of my lungs and told him to get out. That is when he jumped and he was like, "You scared me." And I said, "I scared you? Get the F out of my room." He then told me that he was with maintenance in the hotel and there was some leak in my room. I don't know. He just started talking and I blacked out and screamed again and told him, "I don't care, get the F out of my room." Like, I was freaking out. Did immediately leave after that. Thank God. I was kind of in a good position to where I could either lock myself in the bathroom door or make a run for it out of the hallway. And I think I was loud enough that people heard me. But it was just really, really freaking scary. And it's crazy that someone can just get into your room and you're so vulnerable. I had nothing. Even if I was someone who carried a gun or carried pepper spray everywhere I went to, I would have never had access to that because I was in the shower. Moral of the story, I will not be entering a hotel room without putting one of these on my door.
I don't know why I'm filming this or crying, but this is a part of the reality of solo traveling as a woman. I was just walking in a park in Bucharest and it's like 12 p.m. like in the middle of the day and the park is full of people. But this crazy man like came to me and like cornered me. Like people were walking around and nobody did anything. And it was just really scary because I feel like if you just see like a young girl getting like cornered by some crazy man, like you would step in. So I don't know if it was just like that's how people behave, or eventually he walked away and I just kept walking and I heard people like talking about me and being like, "Do you think she's okay?" But like nobody actually came up to me to check. So it's just one of those things that happen that just make you hate existing as a woman.
Everyone I know has been telling me that I should tell this story on TikTok because it's the craziest situation ever. So I'm bored enough today that I'm going to do it. So here's the story of the scariest thing that has ever happened to me, and a lesson on why you need to take precautions when staying in a hotel, especially by yourself. So I'm in Grand Prairie, Texas for a work trip, which is a suburb of Dallas. I get to the hotel, everything's fine and normal. I get there and I do shower the first night I'm there. I sleep. I've stayed in that hotel so many times before, and then I go to work the next day. I end up getting back at like 11-ish p.m. and I decide to take another shower because I've been outside all day. I get in the shower and I look out the shower curtain and I'm like, is that a message on the mirror? So I turn off the shower and the steam has steamed up the mirror, and there's a message that has been put on the mirror, fingerprint smudged in there. And it said, there's a camera behind here with a little circle with explosions. And so I'm freaking out. I get out of the shower and I call one of my bosses and I'm like, hey, what should I do? And she's like, you need to leave. And so I went down to the front desk and I was like, hey girl, this is really crazy. I have a picture of this. This wasn't here last night when I showered. It's here now. The mirror says there's a camera behind here. This poor 18-year-old girl working the front desk is also freaking out because it's late at night. Keep in mind, I got in at 11 p.m. And she's like, we don't really have another room for you to go to. Our hotel is full, but you can check out. And I was like, yeah, I'll check out. And so I check out and then it gets crazier. So I check out and keep in mind it's late, and the only hotel that has openings is 30 minutes away, and it's in a really nice area of Texas called Southlake, Texas. So I get in my rental car and I drive to Southlake, Texas, and I check into the hotel and everything's fine and normal. So I go to my room, I sit on my hotel bed, and I'm FaceTiming my boyfriend, and then the landline phone to the hotel rings, the room. And so I was like, oh, I checked in late, maybe they need my credit card information or something. So I pick up the phone. On the other end of the phone is an old man's voice, and he was like, hello, I've seen you in Dallas. I wanted to let you know I thought you were pretty, Grace. So he knew my name. So my heart drops to the bottom of my stomach, and the only thing I can tell my boyfriend on the phone is I need to go, I need to leave here right now, someone is following me, I need to go right now. So I go down to the lobby and I'm like, I'm gonna call the police. So I call the police show up, and they're like, did he make a threat to you on the phone? And I was like, no. I hung up on him before he could tell me more, but he knew my name and where I was. And so they were like, well, he didn't make a threat, so there's nothing we can do. We can ask the hotel to turn over their phone records, but they don't have to. The hotel front desk man was like, we won't show you the phone records, but we'll tell you them. Her room has received no phone calls tonight. And I'm freaking out, crying. I'm like, obviously that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. And the police were like, there's nothing we can do. They checked all my stuff for trackers. There was no trackers on anything. I ended up, one of my bosses that same one I called, lived in Texas, so I went to stay at her apartment. But literally what? So stay safe out there. Don't be going to hotels unless you absolutely have to.
Hold me, Jack! I'm so
When I said I wanted to be in my solo travel era, this is not what I meant. So our plane had to make an emergency landing in Oklahoma. We are currently 2 hours away from Palm Springs, and we're stuck in Oklahoma for the next 6 hours. Of course. Airport shower. So we had to make an emergency landing because something was overheating under the plane. But I'm a little nervous because I checked everything that I have in my bag that's under the plane right now. That means everything is gonna have to transfer off the plane. And if there was gonna be a bag left behind, it would be mine. You know what? It's not an adventure until something goes wrong. Honestly, I'm just happy to be here. Delta did give us 3 food vouchers, which is a total of $45. This is so exciting. It feels like a shopping spree, except I'm stranded in Oklahoma. Nice. You know we need a beverage. Thank you so much. Are you guys okay with me recording you guys? Oh my gosh. You guys are with the Neutrogena team, right? I have our Neutrogena friends. We are on the same flight. We are going through the same thing together. I got my drinky drink. Some fruit, gluten-free salad. Well, I've never been to Oklahoma before. Update, it's currently 3:58. It's working away. We have a dinner party tonight. The entire Neutrogena team is going to be there, and I look like this. This quickly turned into a 12-hour travel day. Update, our plane is here. Praying that all of our bags make it on this plane. Why am I so nervous? I don't know how many hours later, but we're boarding. Thank you. See you in Palm Springs. Hopefully.
When I said I wanted to be a travel vlogger, that did not include getting stranded for 28 hours by myself. But first, let's rewind. Tuesday morning, I got ready to go to the airport for the first stop of my Europe Girl adventure, which was Lisbon. I went to the Atlanta International Airport because I figured that was the end destination. And once I got there, I figured out I actually had to go to the domestic terminal since I had to stop in New Jersey. So we head over to the other airport. Everything's fine until I get an alert on my phone saying my flight's been delayed until 11 p.m. Sweet. I go in the terminal and go to the check-in and see it's been delayed till 1:45 a.m. I said, let me see if there's any other options. Sorry, we don't have any more flights. Awesome. So I get my boarding pass and I say goodbye to my family, and then I realize that I'm actually alone, which is such a weird feeling, but I was very excited for the trip regardless. I get to the gate. Then I get a lovely text from United telling me that the flight is moved to tomorrow. When I tell you I almost had an anxiety attack in that line. Anyways, boarded the plane to New York. Everything was going fine and dandy. I was excited still. The views were good. Quick flight and I'm in New Jersey, New York, whatever. I decided to get a drink at the bar because, girl, like, the anxiety was not good. Also, this was straight liquor. Look at my face, trying to act cute. Then I get some dinner, got some Wendy's, sat there, watched the sunset. I tried to do a little fit check, but people were all up in my business, dropped my AirPod. At this point, it's 12 in the morning, so I took the makeup off, okay? Nobody needs to look cute anymore. Then they tell us that the crew is coming, and at 1:45 in the morning, they tell us the flight has been canceled. They told us to go to their customer service line. This is me at 6 a.m. I got to watch the sunrise, and then I had a little mentee bee because, girl, the emotions were high. I was tired, sleep deprived, and all they offered me was food vouchers. Right. So I went to Dunkin', got myself a little coffee, and just strolled around the airport. Then decided to get a breakfast bagel because why not? And then I needed to take a nap because I fully could not function for the next 13 hours in this airport. Here's me sleeping, had some more coffee. Tried to freshen up in the bathroom since there were no showers, and then it was already time for lunch. I met this new friend and she bought us drinks, which was so cute. After that, we decided to explore the airport together, and it was so crowded in there. She took me to the United Lounge, and then I got Wendy's again because nothing else was open. Then we explored a little more and ate our dinner. We got to watch the 4th of July fireworks from afar, which was pretty cool. Found a hair in my sauce, jail. After that, it was already time to go to my gate, and thankfully, y'all, I made it on the plane. When I tell you I was so happy, sleep deprived, all of the emotions. I knocked out the entire 6-hour flight and finally landed in Lisbon. This was definitely the worst travel experience ever, and I really hope United runs me my money, but for now, I'm so excited to be here, and I arrived at the Airbnb, and it was absolutely perfect, which is just what I needed after this long adventure.
I just came on here to say, whoever said solo traveling is fun needs to get hanged. They need some sort of punishment, because why were you lying? I went to Dubai last week, and don't get me wrong, it was an amazing place. I loved it, but it got boring by like the second day because I was by myself, because I believed the people on social media that said solo traveling is fun. You need your friends around you to have fun. Even if you're 1% extroverted, please do not solo travel, because it's literally the most boring thing you could do. Even at a place like Dubai, amazing place, I literally did everything that you can do in Dubai, and I was still bored. Moral of the story, please never solo travel. Even if you're 1% extroverted, please do not solo travel. Go with your friends, you'll have more fun. Thank you.
Has anybody else ever had the uniquely awful feeling of knowing that in real time you are experiencing a new lowest point of your life? Sort of where I'm at the moment, for a variety of reasons that I'm not really going to get into today. I really needed to cry for a little bit. Like, desperately needed a good sob, as one does. And I mean, I'm like mildly homeless at this point. I don't have any place to stay tonight or tomorrow or like the next 20 days. So I couldn't go anywhere. I just sat on a step. I let my emotions take over. It's gonna cry. Turns out I'm actually like too dehydrated to do that. Could not produce a single tear. It was really embarrassing. I was in like a public plaza sitting on the steps. I was just in front of a tour group of Germans. They were just looking at me, and I just kind of looked like sad, a little bit pathetic. So yeah, as Ariana Grande foretold, I got no tears left to cry, I guess. My videos about solo travel are like kind of downers. I don't want to discourage people. Traveling alone is like extremely rewarding in a lot of ways. There are just some days where you feel so alone. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever felt more lonely than I have today. It's extremely isolating. Some days you feel on top of the world, like, oh, this is the best thing ever. But days like this, I woke up extremely aware of the fact that I'm alone in a very foreign country. I'm a bit down, I guess. This trip was sort of stereotypical, like go backpack around Europe to explore and like learn who you are kind of thing. It's working. I think I know myself a little bit too much. Came here to get to know myself. I don't really know if I like myself a whole lot at this point. There's a weird realization to come to. Unpack that another day. But yeah, sorry for the bummer of a squad update. Hopefully my next one's a little bit more upbeat. God, I hope I have something upbeat to update you guys about. Jesus. In the meantime, last day in Croatia. I'm sleeping on a Flixbus tonight because I have an 8-hour ride to Slovenia overnight. It's gonna be lovely, sure. And now just my luck after a week of bright sunny weather in Croatia. The wind is picking up and it looks like it's about to rain. I conveniently have nowhere to go. So not only will I be sad, I'll also be damp. Quite the combination, you know. Signing off, wish me luck. And friends, like I could use that right now.
So the reason why I tell solo travelers to never, ever, and I mean ever, go off with groups of friends or couples is because of what happened to me. In 2022, I had booked a trip for myself to Mykonos. I was like, I'm gonna go. I need to get away from my job, which at the time I was an engineer and I was working in the lab. I was so burnt out. I hated that job. I hated that job so much. But I had finally manifested this dream trip. Like, it was my dream trip for myself. And I was like, I need to go. I'm going to go to Mykonos. So I decided to book the trip for September because 1, the price was right. And 2, the weather was right. And 3, it was going to be like the big party, you know, crazy tourist season, whatever. So Mykonos is very known for all of its parties and its clubs and all that stuff. I'm not really into that. I was like, I just want to go and see the island, relax, chill, and have a great time. And normally when I plan my trips, I will plan out most of the days. Like, I'll plan a free day, but I also plan like, okay, on this day, I'm going to go do this. And on this day, I'm going to go do that. But I was so burnt out and just so tired from my job that I didn't even think about what I was going to do on the trip. I was just like, I'm getting on the flight. I'm going to show up and I'm going to figure it out when I get there. It was super uncharacteristic for me, but I was like, we're just going to make it happen somehow, some way. So the hotel I booked was this like family owned local hotel, and it was right on the beach. So basically right outside of my room, like I had this really nice balcony and overlooked the pool, and the pool was like right in front of the beach. So it was really nice. And I was like so excited for it, but it was also on the opposite side of the rest of the island. So if you've ever been to Mykonos or if you've ever seen like the pictures and stuff where people are all in the little like alleyway, like cobblestone streets and all like the white buildings and stuff, that's in the old town. And where I was staying was like the more local-ish side of town. So basically where I was, the people that would go there were people that vacationed at Mykonos, you know, every year, and that was like their little like local-ish kind of spot. So anytime I wanted to go into town, I would have to take the city bus into town, and it was about a 45-minute drive one way. And the bus also like didn't come back late. So the last bus would arrive back at my hotel around like 6 o'clock. So I couldn't really go into the old town and, you know, relax and like chill out or whatever. But I had met a worker at the hotel that was next to mine. So my hotel like had a little restaurant, but it was like really small. So I decided to go to the hotel next door, and they had a much bigger restaurant. And I would go there, I think like once or twice a day if I were staying, you know, on like that side of the island. And I had met a waiter who had told me that he was like a waiter that stayed there, you know, for the entire summer, and he would stay there every single summer. So he like knew people, but he would also like drive around different tourists as like an Uber essentially, because they had a taxi app, but the taxi was really expensive. And again, like it was just for people who wanted to go into town, you know, after hours, like after the city bus had, you know, ended. So I give him my WhatsApp and I'm like, okay, great, dude. You know, whenever I need a ride, I will let you know. And basically people would just like throw him a few bucks, you know, for driving them in and out of town, whatever. So one day I'm at the hotel, like at the restaurant at his hotel, and I'm like, hey, can you drive me into town tonight? Like I want to have dinner in the old town because like I didn't have an opportunity to have it there. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Come to my car, you know, like at this time. So I meet up with him at the car, and there's 2 Frenchmen that are also in the car with me. And these Frenchmen were like these older guys. I think they were retired actually. Everyone spoke French except for me, which I I know a little bit of French, so like I knew what they were saying, but I wasn't fluent in French. But they stay at the island every single summer, and they actually know the driver guy like really well because they've, you know, come here for, you know, years and years. So I get in the car with these guys, and the driver drops them off at their hotel because they're staying somewhere else, and then he drops me off near the windmills. And on the way there, he's like telling me the different restaurants and stuff they go to, and I'm like, okay, I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna go eat at this restaurant that he recommends to me. But before I get out the car, he says, when you want me to come pick you up, just text me on WhatsApp and I will meet you back here by the windmills. It'll take me like 30 minutes to, you know, get over here from the hotel. So make sure you text me like way in advance so that I know what time and, you know, to come get you. So I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Thanks so much, dude. I get out and I go straight to the restaurant. Now, it's like 6:30, which that is a really early time to eat dinner in Europe, but I was just like on my own American time or whatever. So I'm like, I'm gonna eat dinner because I'm hungry right now. But because nobody else is eating dinner, I eat dinner in a matter of minutes. Like, it's super fast service because like literally nobody else is there. So by the time I finish eating dinner, it's like 7:15. So I'm like, I don't want to go back to the hotel just yet because again, it was like a half-hour ride into town. So I'm like, I'm just gonna walk around and like see the vibe like during sunset, and like, you know, it's getting really cute. People are out, like they're playing music and everything. So I'm like, I'm just gonna walk around. Now, this was not my first time in the Old Town. I had been to the Old Town a few days prior, so I was kind of familiar with some of the restaurants and stuff that I had walked past in previous days. I have a pretty good sense of direction, so I wasn't totally lost. But I wanted to see the city at night, so I was like, okay, I'm still gonna walk around and just see like what the vibe is, you know, at nighttime. So I'm walking through the town and I approached Little Venice, and like this is a part of Mykonos where you're like really close by the water. Everyone will sit at different restaurants, they'll have drinks, you know, they'll just kind of chill out, and it really feels like you're in Italy. And I'm walking along Little Venice and I'm like, oh, so cute, like everybody's out, you know, whatever. And I see this black couple that is sitting and they're like facing the water, and I make eye contact with the husband of the couple. And that is where the story starts to take a turn. So I rarely ever see black people when I am traveling. So when I see this couple, they see me, we kind of like make the eye contact and be like, oh, hey, how you doing? And as I'm walking by, the guy is like, oh my gosh, you look just like my wife. And I look at the woman next to him and I'm like, I do not look like this woman literally at all. The only thing that we had in common was that we both had brown skin. Like, I did not look like this woman. So I'm just like, you know, and he's like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, yeah, I'm from Philly. That's what I normally tell people when I'm out, but whatever. And as it turns out, they were from Atlanta. So they were here for the week. And I was like, oh, you know, cool, nice to meet you. And they're like, oh, do you want to stop and have a drink with us? And I was like, no, I already had one, but you know, thanks so much. Have a great night. And I continue walking on about my business. I'm going through different streets. Like, I'm just like having a night, right? And I end up going to the pharmacy to get like bug bite cream or something. But like, I'm really not doing anything. I don't have a schedule. I don't have any plans. I'm just like living life. So at one point I go to like the port side, and they have Wi-Fi and they have a bench because I'm wearing this like really tight sundress and wedge heels. So I'm like, I need to sit down. I'm gonna sit on this bench and I'm gonna connect to the Wi-Fi and I'm gonna just scroll on Instagram. And that's exactly what I did for like 10 or 15 minutes. Nobody is bothering me. Nobody's talking to me. I'm like separate from most people that are just like walking by, minding their business. I'm having a grand old time. But then I start to hear like voices behind me and I'm like, why do these voices sound familiar? Because again, I'm in Mykonos, like I don't know anybody here. But I turn around and it is the couple that I had just seen like, you know, 45 minutes or so before in Little Venice. So I turn around and I'm like, are you guys following me? Like trying to be like, you know, cheeky, cute, whatever. And they were like, oh my gosh, Philly, like how you doing? So they come on over and they sit down and we just start chatting, right? And they're like asking me, you know, how long are you here? Like, have you done this? Have you done that? Whatever. And they seem like a friendly couple. So I'm just like having a conversation with them. I'm like, yeah, I had dinner at this restaurant that, you know, I'm talking about like where I ate. And they're like, oh, have you been to this other restaurant? And I'm like, no, I haven't tried that. But, you know, the place I went to was really good. I enjoyed it. You know, I'm enjoying my stay here in Mykonos, you know. And they asked me, are you alone? And for whatever reason, I was like, yeah, I am. So these days, I do not tell you that I'm alone, even if I am alone. And this is the reason why I had learned that skill. So they seemed super harmless. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm just here myself visiting. And they're like, oh, okay, like this is your first time here? And I say, yeah. So then they're like, oh, where's your hotel? Like, where are you staying? And I did have the right sense of mind to not tell them the name of my hotel. So basically I was like, oh, I'm staying at this really cute place. You know, it's a family, like locally owned spa on the other side of the island. It's really cute. And they're like, oh, what's the name of it? And I'm like, the name is escaping me right now. Like, I can't think of the name, but it's a really cute spot. You know, it's right on the beach. And they're like, oh, so how did you get over here? And I'm like, oh, I have a private driver. Like, he's gonna, you know, come pick me up whenever I'm ready to go. So they're like, oh, okay. You know, we're staying at this other hotel. And they name their hotel. And I'm like, I have no idea what the hell this hotel is. But they're like, oh, you know, the hotel's a really nice bar. They have really great drinks. Like, you would love it. It's so great. You should come and have drinks with us at our hotel. And I was like, oh, no, like, I already ate. Like, I'm good. You know, thanks so much. And they're like, no, it's nice. Like, it's so nice. You need to come see it. So the woman is like, oh, it's just 5 minutes up the hill. Like, it's really not far. It's like super quick, super close. You know, you'll be right back here in the next like few minutes. And where she points, like, I can literally see the hill. So I'm like, okay, it's not far. And also, I know how to get back. Like, I can literally see it's a straight path from here to where I'm sitting right now. So I decide I'm gonna go off with this couple, and she starts to lead the way to this hotel. And as we start walking, they're like, oh, you're not like weird or anything, right? And that should have been my like red flag of like, bitch, don't go with them. But I'm like, what? No. Are you weird? And they're like, no, we're not. Like, come on. So I go with them. And as we're walking like up the hill, I realized that this hotel is not actually like a 5-minute walk away. It's way longer than that. The woman is leading the way in the front and the guy is behind me. And I'm kind of like struggling in this tight ass dress, but like, I'm just gonna get to the hotel and then I'll come right back down. Like, it's not a big deal. So we get to their hotel and it is as nice as they're saying. Like, the hotel is kind of like decked out to be this like cave. And as soon as we walk into the hotel, everyone is greeting them. Like, they, I guess, are regulars. Like, everyone's like, oh, hey, it's good to see you again. Like, how are you? You know, whatever. So we go to the bar and, you know, the bartender greets them, the host greets them. Like, everyone knows them by first name. So I'm like, oh, these must be like pretty important people, I guess. So we have a seat at the bar, and as soon as we sit down, the wife is like, you know, I'm gonna go get changed and go change into something more comfy before we go to the restaurant. And her husband is like, oh, you're gonna love this restaurant. It's really close to her hotel. It's so nice, but you know, you have to like be dressed like a little bit upscale. So she's gonna go change, and you know, we go just have drinks here at the bar. So she leaves to go to her hotel room to get changed, and I am left alone with her husband at the bar. I am at this bar with this man that I do not know. Now, the bar at the hotel was so sexy. Like, the actual bar itself was a fish tank. There were live fish swimming in the bar. It was also like decked out to also like a cave, but it was like really like dark and moody and like very like mysterious type vibe. Like, it was dark enough where like you had to like use your cell phone to kind of look at the menu type of dark. So we sit down and the bartender gives us one menu, and the guy like looks at it, but he's like, oh, you know, I already know what I want, and he makes his order. I actually look at the menu because I've never been to this place, and I'm flipping through it and I'm like, you know what, I will just have a glass of Chardonnay. So the guy is like, oh, you don't want anything else? Like, why don't you get some tequila? Why don't you get this? Like, you like tequila, right? And I'm like, yeah, I do, but like, I'm not really in the mood for that. I'll just have a Chardonnay. You know, that's all I want today. The bartender gives us the drinks and we just start chatting, right? So I'm like, you know, what do you do in Atlanta? You know, how are you guys able to travel so much? Because on the way out, they had told me that they were traveling like all the time, basically. So he tells me that he owns his own business and so does his wife. And they like travel together. It's pretty much spontaneously, like whenever they want to go somewhere, they just up and go. So I start asking about his business. I'm like, oh, you know, what do you do exactly in Atlanta? Like, what's the business? And he gets kind of like vague. Like, it's very strange how he responds to my question, but he basically says that his business is like tech related. And since I have an engineering background, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, tell me about it. Like, tell me about this tech business. And then he like doesn't really say much of anything. Like, he's just like very obviously talking in circles. So that kind of threw me off, because normally people that own a business, they want to tell you about their business or, you know, their business plan or whatever. So either he like had really no hands in it, or it was something that was like weird. I don't know, but he just like didn't seem to want to talk about it. But then he asked me like, oh, you know, where do you live in Philly? And I didn't live in Philly, but I'm like, oh, you know, I live like in this area. I'm just saying whatever, because I really can't tell if this guy is like who he says he is. Like, something about him just like seems off to me. So we're basically having a conversation about nothing. Like, I'm asking him questions about his business. He's being intentionally vague. He's asking me questions and I'm just making up lies. And then we get to a point where he has almost finished his drink. So the menu is sitting right in front of me because I was the last person to look at the menu. And instead of him like reaching over to grab it, he leans towards me, like on me, where he's like touching me and starts to like look at the menu. So I peep take that real quick, and I just like slide the menu over, and I'm like, here, sure, you want to take a look at the menu? No problem. Like, what else are you gonna get to drink? Have you anything else to drink here? And I just start doing my like nervous rambling, which is something I do where like, if I'm uncomfortable, I'm just gonna say anything to kind of like distance myself from the situation. So I start talking about the bar and the ambiance of the restaurant, like how nice it is. And I'm like, yeah, how often you guys stay here? Like, I've never heard of this place. It's so nice, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, you know, it's cool. Where are you staying? What's the name of your hotel? And I'm like, oh, you know, I can't remember the name of my hotel. I'm like, but you know, it's on the other side of the island. It's really cute. It's a really cute place. Have you guys gone to the beach? Like, I'm just rambling, yapping away. And he's like, oh no, we haven't gone to the beach, but you know, sounds like a really nice place. Like, I would love to stay there at some time. Then you should definitely send us the info of this, you know, hotel that you're staying at. So at this point, the wife comes back down. She took a long time to get changed, by the way, but she comes down this like all white outfit, and I'm like, oh, it's very cute. You look so nice. Da, da, da. And he gets up from his seat, and she sits down in it. And he's like, I'm gonna go get changed, you know, so we can go head off to the other restaurant. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I am safe. Like, this woman is here. She seems pretty normal. I'm just gonna chat her up until like I can actually like leave. So after he leaves, you know, I start talking to the woman, and she's telling me about like her business and, you know, how she lives in Atlanta and how like they met and everything. And like what she's saying in terms of their like travel schedule and like how they come up with different trips and stuff, like that makes sense to me. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So she's like, yeah, how do you like Philly? And I'm like, it's so great. I love it. It's so good. But you know, I'm gonna move to California soon. And that's when I start talking about California and LA and how much I just think it's just so great. And I'm so excited to move there and blah, blah, blah. Because again, I didn't live in Philly, and I didn't want them to know that I didn't live in Philly. So I just started talking about something else that I was actually interested in. So then she tells me, oh yeah, I used to live in Southern California too. So as she's saying that, her husband comes back down, and he is like, oh, are you guys ready to go to the restaurant? And she's like, yeah, let's go. So me and her are both sitting next to each other at the bar, and he comes up and he stands in between the both of us, and he hands his phone to the bartender. Him and the bartender are like buddy or whatever. So they're like, oh yeah, let's take the picture, da, da, da. So he's standing in between us, and he puts his arms around the both of us, and I can feel him like rubbing my shoulder as we're taking this photo. This is the part where I was super weirded out, and I'm like, okay, I need to stay away from this man. But as soon as you take the photo, they're like, oh, let's go. The shuttle's here. Let's go to the restaurant. So I get in the shuttle with them to go to this restaurant. So this shuttle shows up to the front of the hotel. But it was not a shuttle, babes. It was actually more of like a limo. Like, this was like the most decked out hotel shuttle I have ever seen in my life. But apparently this restaurant like used to be or somehow affiliated to their hotel. So they just like shuttle their guests to the restaurant, you know, without having to like book a reservation or something. I don't know. But the drive from the hotel to the restaurant is literally 2 minutes. As we're getting into the car, I realized a lot of things in that 2-minute ride. But first, the wife had been telling me that she used to live in Southern California. So I was like, oh, cool. Where did you used to live? And she was like, oh yeah, I used to live in Orange County. It was so great. I loved it. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, before I actually moved to California myself, I did not know a lot about this state. But I did know that not a lot of Black people lived in Orange County, and not a lot of Black people were bragging about how much they love living in Orange County. So I was like, oh, okay. How long did you live in Orange County? And she goes, 8 years. It was great. I loved every second of it. Now that was a red flag to me. I was like, I need to get away from these people. Something is not right here. Then in the same 2-minute car ride, right? The guy is like, oh, you're going to love this restaurant. It is so nice. It is so sexy. It's so great. He's like, you're gonna love the food. It's so good. We come here all the time. Like, they have destinations or locations of this restaurant all over the world. And I'm like, oh, I already ate dinner, but you know, thanks so much. You know, I'm not gonna eat, you know, while we're here. And he was like, no, you're gonna love it. And I really not like how pushy he was being, honestly. I'm the type of person that when I say no once, I mean that shit. Don't ask me multiple times or tell me multiple times that I need to do something. That actually like annoys my soul. So when he said this for like the 3rd time now, I'm like, I'm not hungry, dude. I don't want to eat here. Anyway, we pull up to the restaurant, and this restaurant, I swear, was a simulation. It had this really long like entryway, and it was also like looked like a cave. Everyone in the restaurant is dressed in togas, and the hostess like desk is a rock. It was the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Like, I've never been to a restaurant like this ever. But we get to this like hostess desk, and they're like, oh, do you guys want a table, or do you want, you know, the high tables with the drink? And he's like, we want a table. So I look into the restaurant, and you can see like there's like a very, very cute and nice ocean view. But before you even see the ocean view, there are tables. These tables are beds, and the beds are floating. So it's like the bed, and then there's like little like side tables, and then like the next like floating bed with like more side tables. And I'm like, this is not right. So the hostess is like, oh, we don't have any tables ready right now, but we're gonna put you at the high top tables next to the bar. You guys can have some drinks, and then we'll come grab you when your table is actually ready. So by the time we get to the bar, I've already made up my mind. I'm like, I need to figure out a way to get out of here. I need to figure out a way to get out of here and like not make it weird and just like leave safely. But we get to the high top tables, and they give us another menu for drinks, and I ordered another Chardonnay. Now in my mind, I have already decided I'm not gonna actually drink this Chardonnay. Because for one thing, they also were asking me like, oh, do you want something else? Like, do you want to get something, you know, tequila or some Hennessy, like anything else that you want? And I'm like, no, just a Chardonnay, it's fine. And they're also like, oh, you should look at the restaurant. It's so nice. Like, it's so great. Just go take a look at it and see what you think. So as soon as I walk away from this like high top table after I order my Chardonnay, I am on my phone. I'm messaging my driver in the WhatsApp, and I'm like, dude, you need to come get me from this weird ass restaurant. So I'm walking through the restaurant, and it was really nice, but it also just like was not my vibe at all. So I come back over to the table, and I'm like, oh, you know, my driver is actually going to be here soon. You know, he's going to pick me up. So thank you guys for inviting me for drinks and everything, but like I am going to head out soon, so like I'm not going to eat at all. So they're like, what? No, you shouldn't. The food is so good. And they start naming like all the foods they've eaten or whatever. And again, this guy is like talking to the different people that work at the restaurant, and it seems like they either know him or they recognize him, but like they are having a very like more than friendly conversation. Like it's not like it's his first encounter with these people. So I'm like, I need to get out of here stat, but my driver is not answering on the WhatsApp. So my Chardonnay arrives, right? They're like, oh, would you like to get another drink? Like, I'm gonna have another drink, you know, and I'm like, no. And I'm just like nursing this Chardonnay, just like basically keeping it warm. But then the woman is like, oh, we should take a picture. This is such a cute picture spot. Let's take a photo. So we get up and we take a photo with like this restaurant, you know, as the background, whatever. And as we're taking the photo, I can see my phone on the table, and my phone lights up, and I'm like, thank God. And it is my driver. And he says, I will be there in 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, all I gotta do is just entertain these people for the next 10 minutes. And I'm like internally hyping myself up. I'm like, I can do this. I'm a chatterbox. I can figure this out. Like, I got this. So we take the picture. I sit back down at this high top table, and the three of us are sitting there. And the guy is like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. Now, keep in mind, this man had been to the restaurant before many a times, supposedly. And the way we're sitting at this table is that like I am facing the bathrooms. Like I can literally see the bathrooms where I'm sitting. The woman is sitting like to my left, and the guy is sitting directly across from me. This man gets up, walks past me, slaps my butt, and he's like, see you when I get back. And the wife, who is facing, like she sees this going on, she starts laughing. She's like, he's such a kidder. And I'm like, oh hell no, I need to leave here. I literally watch him walk beyond me. He walks like in a big circle, and then he walks like around and finally makes his way to the bathroom. And I'm like, that was definitely calculated. So now I'm like, all right, this is super strange. I need to leave ASAP. Like I cannot leave faster. I am frantically texting this driver guy. I'm like, please come. Like, how far are you? How long is it gonna be? And he's not answering because he's driving. The woman is talking to like one of the waiters or whatever, so she's like preoccupied. But then the husband comes back from the bathroom. He sits down at the table, and he's like, damn, like our table should be ready soon. Like, I wonder what's taking so long. Now, as he's saying it, another like staff member comes up, and they're like, oh, your table is ready. We're ready to seat you now. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, I need to get out of here. And my phone goes off. But it's not my driver. It's actually my mom. So when I am traveling, my mom really does not text me because she just assumes that I am doing something and I am busy. And also, I'm in a different time zone most of the time, so I'm probably not going to see it. But the thing that she does is she will text me what she calls safety checks. And it's basically a green check mark and a question mark. And that is her version of, I don't want to bother you, but I want to make sure that you are alive and well. And another thing about my mom is that she has worked the graveyard shift at her job like since I was literally born. So her version of like waking up early is 1 p.m., 2 p.m., whatever. But she's not like actually like functional until like 4-ish p.m. But I'm in Greece, which means I'm in a totally different time zone. I think I was 7 hours ahead, and it was about 10 o'clock. or maybe it was like 9 o'clock. It was getting towards like 9:30-ish, 10, which meant that it was probably like 2:30 in New Jersey. So for her to randomly text me a safety check at that time was it's such a big sign, such a big sign. So I see that and I'm like, ooh, I have an out. So I grab my phone and I'm like, hey, my mom is calling me. I think it's really urgent. I have to go to this phone call, but I will come back and find you guys when I'm done. So I start to walk away and I'm like pretending like I'm dialing to call my mom. And as I'm walking away, like, on this phone call, my driver actually texts me back and he's like, hey, I'm outside. I'm like, hallelujah. And I walk back into like the restaurant and I'm like, hey, actually my driver just arrived. Thank you guys so much for the drinks, but I'm gonna head out now. And they're like, oh, darn. Oh, you would have really loved the food. The food here is so good. And I'm like, yeah, oh, such a shame. I'm gonna have to go, but thanks so much. And I book it out of there. And as soon as I get to my driver's car, I get in and he's like, how the hell did you get all the way over here? Because keep in mind, I was supposed to meet him at the windmills, which at this point is a 35-minute walk in the other direction. Down the hill, around the alleyway, it was far. It was far from where he actually picked me up. So he asked me that and I'm like, dude, you have no idea what happened. Just please drive. Please get me away, far, far away from these people. And as we drive away and we're headed back to the hotel, I am telling him everything of what happened. I'm like, Hallie, I met this couple, how they took me to their hotel, how I ended up at this restaurant. Like, it was just such a strange occurrence. And this man is fascinated. He's like, what? How? And then you went with them? Like, what? And I'm like embarrassed at the same time. I'm just like grateful that he is here. And I'm just like, yeah, like it was so weird. It was so strange. And he's like, you think they were trying to like pineapple? And that's when it all clicked. It all just came together in that moment. And I was like, oh my God, I think they were. So luckily I did make it back to my hotel. The driver was not creepy. I went back and I had a really great night of sleep. If there is just one thing that you take away from this story is to, one, never, ever, ever get drunk with strangers. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what you drink, just never get drunk. Never, ever, ever get drunk. Two, never go out with strangers. Never go out with strangers. People are less likely to look out for you and they're more likely to look out for either their friends or themselves. And last but not least, never tell anybody you are alone. That was such a rookie mistake. I regret that entirely. So yeah, do not make the mistakes I made because this was absolutely insane and I will never, ever, 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 ever meet a couple in Atlanta ever again. Okay, let's get a few things straight. First, I have never been in a situation where I've had to interact with swingers in any way, shape, or form. I must have missed the masterclass on how to spot swingers in 3 easy steps. So sorry, my bad. But if you've never been exposed to something, if you've never had to interact with people that are interested in those types of things, then there's really no way for you to actually know other than seeing it on the internet. Second, people are asking, why did I go back into the restaurant when I had already been faking a phone call with my mom? I never actually left the restaurant. I didn't even get to know the hostess desk. The restaurant was huge. When I had stepped away to like take this phone call, I was like 10 feet away. So they could still hear what I was saying if I were actually on the phone with my mom. They didn't walk towards any tables. They were literally standing there watching me as I'm like messing around on my phone. So I never left the restaurant and then decided to go back. That's not what happened. I stepped off to the side. I typed in my little phone and then that's when the driver said, I am there. And that's when I was like, oh, I'm actually gonna leave. But we were within earshot distance of each other. Number 3, the restaurant and the hotel never had any indication that it was some type of sex scheme or anything of that nature. When I had left and got back to my own hotel, I actually looked at both the hotel and the restaurant and it was all seemingly normal. They didn't have any special events or like adults only type of activities or anything like that on their website or at all affiliated with the restaurant. These people were just into this restaurant for some odd reason. Yes, the toga thing was weird, but everybody was wearing clothes when I walked around the restaurant. No one was even like kissing. Like it was pretty normal as far as a restaurant in that fashion goes. Also, my driver had told me that he had previously eaten at that restaurant like when it first opened. So he was like, oh yeah, the food isn't good. It's overpriced. It's not somewhere that locals even go. So that's why I didn't even recommend it to you in the first place. So it's like one of those like swanky new restaurants, whatever. Other than that, they actually did have food. People were actually eating it, sitting down, enjoying it. It was not my vibe. It's not something I would ever actually go to again or on my own at all, but it was a pretty normal restaurant aside from the whole beds thing. And last but not least, people are asking, well, why didn't you just say no? Why didn't you walk away? Why didn't you do this? For one thing, I repeatedly said, I'm not hungry. I don't want anything else to drink. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. I don't want anything to eat. So the people that I was with were very pushy, but also there have been many scenarios where I have told men no and they have become extremely aggressive. I have been grabbed. I have been yelled at. I have men that have chased me. So just saying no isn't something that just magically makes men go away. The fact that the woman was also encouraging or just like supportive of what he was doing also indicated to me that she was not on my side in any way, shape, or form, regardless of whatever they were into. So if something like that can happen where I tell a guy no and he still tries to make advances on me in my own country, what do you think could happen if I am in a foreign country that I haven't been to before, where I'm with these people who seemingly know everyone else that we are around? Just saying no or, oh, fuck politeness, like that is not an actual realistic solution for most women on this planet. I wish we lived in a world where women could just say no and men would leave them alone and that would be the end of story. But we don't live in that world. And to make matters worse, I'm a black woman with black people, so they probably think we're related, if anything. But God forbid, if I actually did go missing, do you really believe that law enforcement would exhaust their resources looking for me compared to if a white woman went missing? Probably not. The reality of the situation is when a black woman goes missing, law enforcement will put up one flyer, maybe a Facebook post here and there. But when a white woman goes missing, they will search for her endlessly for the next 3 decades. As someone who is by herself, a small black woman in a country that she's never been in, I had to think on my feet and think of a way for me to get out of that situation as safe as possible. If you are someone to just say no and that works out for you, God bless. I really hope that works out for you. I hope you are safe. However, that is not a realistic nor viable solution for most women, let alone women of color. Now, I told this entire story just for the sake of showing people that you can travel solo, but you need to be smart about it. You need to have common sense about it, and you shouldn't be saying certain things when you are solo. Yes, traveling solo can be dangerous, but also walking outside my front door could just be as dangerous. I have traveled solo since that trip because that trip happened 2 years ago, and I have been just fine ever since. So this isn't something that happens every time I leave my house. However, I recognize that solo traveling can be dangerous, but I'm also not going to live my life in the house, never doing anything, never going anywhere, never exploring any pace, because I'm just so afraid that something could happen to me. When you live in fear, you literally don't live at all. So yeah, I'd rather take the risk and have something enjoyable about life, but it is risky, but I think the risk is worth it. If you disagree, totally fine, whatever. But if you talk about my mom, we actually going to have some serious problems. Now, I hope you actually took something away from the story, and we will get back to the regular scheduled content.
For 2 Middle Eastern countries you can easily group together in one trip. First up is Jordan. Jordan was by far one of my favorite solo trips in 2024. I started off my journey in one of the oldest cities in the world, Amman. I spent 2 days here exploring the city, learning about the culture, and enjoying delicious Jordanian cuisine. Now, it's never a trip to Jordan if you do not make it to Petra, a world wonder that truly earns its title. A lot of people spend only 1 day here, but I recommend spending overnight. I stayed the night at a beautiful bubble dome that included breakfast, dinner, and live music every night. Now, Wadi Rum was 4 hours away from Petra, and like Petra, you cannot miss this beautiful desert. My days included camelback riding, stargazing, and exploring some of the coolest parts of this desert. Just a FYI, the tours are booked through your hotel. Now, after spending 2 days here, the trip ended with spending my last few days in the Dead Sea. I was able to see the beautiful Dead Sea and spent my days here in the spa of the Marriott Dead Sea. They also had live music. Now for the second country, Qatar. Qatar is a stopover for many countries, but people do not stop to actually explore. I spent 1 night and 2 days in Doha, Qatar, and that was enough for me. From the skyscrapers to the museums and this beautiful hotel that I stayed in, 10 out of 10, guys.
I'm in fucking Belgium. I just checked in my hotel. I tried to look for my passport. My passport not there. I had to have my passport to get on the train. So I know I had my passport. I don't know if someone went in my purse when I wasn't looking or what. And now I'm at this fucking hotel. It's hot as shit. I go down there, tell him AC not working. He say, yeah, it's not working in the whole hotel. The whole fucking hotel. And on top of that, there's no fucking bug on the fucking ceiling. I want to go home so bad.
Hey, I'm wandering Atlanta on my own today.
So first I went to Centennial Olympic Park, one of the biggest parks here.
I love your booty. I love your booty.
What the fuck?
I love your fat ass.
I appreciate it, man.
You got a fat ass. Can I fuck you?
No.
What's it?
Dude, you're so shallow.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, but that's not how it works, man. Can't believe I just caught that shit on camera. Anyways, I am at the Olympic building, which is the exact center of Atlanta. In every city, there's always a homeless population. A couple people have asked me for money, so I can't actually go inside the state capitol area because it's a weekend. However, I can still get some nice views of the Golden Top and the architecture. One thing about me is I like to do all the free things and get to know the city first and just do all the local things like walk around to parks and such. Just some food for thought. I didn't plan on coming to Atlanta alone today. I was planning on doing some photography with someone, which is why I have my $1,000 camera in my car right now. And I have a camera tripod in my bag so I can take my own picture. You know, I didn't know if my friend would come through or not. And yeah, I am going to go find Margaret Mitchell, the woman who wrote Gone with the Wind, and Kenny Rogers. So that's my goal. I have a 50-minute walk back to my car and my foot can't take it anymore. I decided to start asking random people if they'll be driving by Centennial Park on their way back and perhaps I could get a lift. My favorite people to find in the park are those who just choose a place to sit and they write. As you can see, I am back at my car. I got very, very lucky. Gary was actually going to the cemetery to do some writing. I knew I liked those types of people. So that'll be for another day. For now, I'm just gonna go to Pond Street Market and see what's inside. I made it to the rooftop. The Pond City Market food was kind of expensive, so I decided to come to Salada and get a salad. So I decided to end my awkward first trip to Atlanta by making it more awkward by going to the Doll's Head Trail. So just my luck, it's starting to rain and get dark, and you know, I'm starting to get a little creeped out by all these like creepy doll statues and art, so I think I'm gonna go home. So I get to the porta potty and it was locked, so then I had to, you know, grab some napkins from my car and do my duty in the woods. And now I never want to be seen again there. I will never go back. Never.
I was freaking out, honestly, when this girl was doing a tour where she was in Atlanta, coming to Atlanta, Centennial Park, and she was going different places, just walking. That is something we don't do out here. I'm saying this from a person who's been staying in Georgia for like a long ass time. We do not do that. I don't even go downtown Atlanta. I stay like 45 minutes away from the city because the chaos that's in Atlanta, you never catch me down there unless I have things to do down there, unless I have clients, unless I have a photo shoot or things that I really want to do, unless I want to explore a place that I know that, okay, my parking is safe, my car is safe. Like, yo, Atlanta, they don't play out here, baby. You don't even park your car like that. You might come back to your car, your wheels is off, they busted your windows. And then another thing, the water boys, girl, if you was now found with them water boys there, I don't know what you could have did. They would be like, $1 for this water, girl. You not upping up no money. They whooping your ass for real. We've seen that with videos in Atlanta. Like, that's one thing I will advise you guys. Research the places you're going downtown Atlanta. I don't ever go to Fulton County. I don't ever go to Bunkhead. You will never catch me there. You will never catch me there. For what, bro? Like, I already do my research. I know how to move. Like, even if you catch me there, you're catching me with people who have been raised there or like know the city like that. I am not from here, so but I know I have knowledge of different cities, and that's why I keep to myself, because I know how everything, bad things happen everywhere, but like they're high rates, just like in different cities, different states. There are high rates in different cities, and the city that I'm, yes, we have crime, but it's not as high as downtown. And will not catch me damn near with a vlog camera, with my camera just doing that. Y'all was even hearing the people catcalling her and all that. Yeah, girl, that is not safe for you to be in Atlanta doing that. So just go ahead, do your research on the streets, the counties where you're going, especially even where you're going to park. Like, parking is another thing that I hate to deal with in Atlanta, so that's why I don't even go down there unless like I'm gonna be in an enclosed parking garage with like where I'm paying and I know my car is there and I can, you know what I'm saying? I don't be parking my car anywhere, bruh. Like, for real. It's Atlanta, bruh. Like, that shit, it freaked me out. I'm sorry, but let's keep moving.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but take the trip. If no one wants to go with you, do it by yourself. I'm saying this as I am on a 2-week solo trip going across Bali. And on this trip, I've met a bunch of different people. One of them stuck in my mind. She was one of the servers at a restaurant I was eating by myself at, and she came up to me and she asked, "Are you traveling solo?" She was probably 18 years old. She was born and raised in Bali. And I said, "Oh my God, yes, I am." She looked at me, said, "You are so brave." I said to her, and I said to everyone else out there, "No, I'm not. I'm not brave. I simply choose to be uncomfortable." What holds people back from traveling by themselves is the idea and the fear of being uncomfortable, having to talk to strangers, being by yourself, being alone with your thoughts, not knowing what the hell is going on in a foreign country and having to deal with all the problems alone. But the second you can embrace being uncomfortable, take a step outside of your comfort zone, is the second you start growing. You will experience things that you would never experience if you were with other people. You will learn, oh my God, so much about yourself. I can almost guarantee that you will meet amazing humans, learn about their life, hear their stories, and you would not have done that if you were with others. Life is too damn short and the world is too damn big to stay in your little bubble. So take the freaking trip and know that you can get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So with all this being said, take the trip. And if my cute 18-year-old server is watching this, I hope I inspired her to be brave and live her life to the fullest. I hope I inspired you too.
I went to Bali for my first solo international trip, and one advice that I can give as a female solo traveler is to follow your intuition. You'll meet a lot of people, you'll go to places where you've never been before, so if your intuition tells you that something is unexplainably wrong, just leave the situation for your safety. On the other hand, you'll also meet people who you just feel safe with, and you might make once-in-a-lifetime connections with them. You'll never know. But please, please, please always listen to your intuition, because that's your body giving you a signal when you're safe or maybe when you're in danger. Do you guys agree on this advice?
This month I had the worst travel experience of my entire life, and that is saying something because I have been to 52 countries so far. To start, I was on a rural island in the Philippines, here, Mindoro, and I was right about where this tip was. To be able to get home, I needed to take a ferry over to Batangas, drive up to Manila, and then fly over to Cebu before flying back to the US because flights were cheaper from Cebu than they were from Manila. That in and of itself is already like expected to be about a 12-hour journey, and that's not even starting my way back to the US. I was volunteering at an orphanage, and this was my 5th time serving at that orphanage, and I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to say goodbye. The kids got up and surprised me at 5:30 in the morning to send me off, and I was weeping uncontrollably. I said goodbye to the kids, I hopped in a tricy and headed to the ferry. Of course, I get to the ferry, and the ferry that I want to take is just not running, because why? Why would it run? I race to make it on a different ferry that's leaving 30 minutes earlier, but arriving an hour after I was expected to. Obviously, it's a beautiful ride, the sun was coming up, but this is what I looked like on the other side of the camera. Yup, I was not lying when I said I was uncontrollably weeping the entire time that I was journeying to the airport. This is what they mean when they say get you a girl who could do it all, right? Right? Then I got picked up in my friend's new bulletproof vehicle, which I'm like, all right. We drove 2.5 hours, made it to the Manila airport. I had about 3 hours until my flight, and then I flew to Cebu. What I didn't mention is that the day before this whole trip, I sprained my ankle, and I sprained it bad. By the time I make it to my hotel that night, I take off my shoes and see that my ankle has swollen like a balloon and is starting to bruise. I had planned for one day in Cebu before flying back to the US because I wanted to explore. It's a beautiful beach spot, but obviously with that ankle, I was not going to be doing any walking or exploring. Then it dawned on me, oh crap, I'm about to be flying for 27 hours on this untreated sprained ankle. That puts me at a real risk for blood clots. And now I have learned the hard way to never travel without compression socks, but I had to go rummaging through the Philippines trying to find compression socks or anything that would work for a sprained ankle for 27 hours of flight time. It's also Holy Week during this time, so almost everything is closed. But I finally find one pair of compression leggings that are a Filipino size medium, and I am not a Filipino size medium, but I said this will have to do. I made it to the airport, getting ready to fly to Doha and to DC. That's when we get hit with it. A 13-hour delay. We get the notification of the 13-hour delay, and I immediately walk up to the counter and I'm like, this isn't real, right? And they're like, unfortunately it is. We were scheduled to fly from Cebu to Doha at 6 p.m. and it gets moved to 7 a.m. the next day. So I go up and talk to the people at Qatar and say, hey, what are we gonna do here? 13 hours is a long time, especially overnight. The gate agents told me that Qatar would set up a hotel for us overnight, but it was going to take a little bit. They weren't going to give us new boarding passes for the connections and everything, that we were just going to have to fly to Doha and then figure it out there, which I'm like, don't love that. And they also said, well, you're going to have to go through customs again to be able to enter back into the Philippines, and you're going to have to go wait and pick up your bags and then go to the hotel. And I'm like, all right, so this is going to take a while. They had one person operating the customs desks for us. It was a full 787 Dreamliner, and they had one person on the customs desk. Of course, that takes a few hours to be able to get the entire plane through customs, go pick up our bags. They bus us to some random hotel, and it's just chaos all around. I will say it was the best hotel buffet food I have ever had in my entire life. Arguably the best buffet I've ever had. And I was like, wow, I would come back here just for the food. But again, I'm gonna have to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning. It is 10:30 now. My ankle hurts. Everything is just a mess. I realized I've walked about 5 miles at this point on the sprained ankle. So once I finally get settled into the room, I see that this is what we're working with. And I'm like, gosh darn it. And again, I don't know if I've mentioned, but I am solo on this trip. They said there'd be a wake-up call at 1:30. We'd have to leave by 2:30 so we could be back at the airport at 3 so that we could recheck all of our bags and check back in. Of course, the wake-up call never happened, so why would I expect it to? So at least I set my own alarm, was able to get up, get ready, but then it took another 3 hours in the airport to be able to go through, get everything rechecked, get back through the gate, and now it is time to actually board my flight, my short flight, my 10.5-hour flight to Doha. I board and I'm in the second to last row of the plane, and the man sitting next to me goes to put his bag up in the overhead bin, and his water bottle falls out, gashes him on the nose, and he starts bleeding. I'm just baffled at this point, and he sits down. Flight attendants rush over to him, and he's like, how does my nose look? Does it look any different? I'm like, sir, I don't know you. I don't know what your nose looked like before you hit it with this water bottle. The flight attendants had already gotten me ice for my sprained ankle, and now they're getting ice for this man for his nose, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we're just the problem row at the back of the plane. So the man next to me is now bleeding from his nose, and the captain comes on and tries to blame him for the delay, saying, oh, a passenger injured himself while we were boarding, and now we have to handle that. And the man turns to me and he goes, these people delayed our flight for 13 hours, and now they're gonna try to blame me for this? I'm like, sir, I don't really know what to do in this situation. And so people come over and they try to check with him, and they say, can you still breathe? Are you okay to fly? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. It's just my pride and ego and a little bruise here. And then it started to bruise a little bit more, starting to give him a black eye, and I was like, oh, okay. But so we're sitting on the flight, and again, I'm icing my ankle, he's icing his face, and then he turns to me because he can tell I'm American, and he goes, so what do you think of Donald Trump? And I was like, sir, why? Why are we gonna do this right now? The nice thing is we had no one in the middle seat, so I was at least able to elevate my ankle. We had to put ice in a rubber glove and tie that, and then I tied it with a beach shawl to my ankle. It was real DIY. Eventually we land in Doha, and thankfully, because it's Qatar's hub, they had a lot of people to be able to better serve everyone compared to Cebu, but it was still chaotic. We take the bus in and we come into the airport, and it's people just yelling destinations at us. They're like, Berlin, Washington, D.C., Texas, Dallas, Copenhagen, and we're all like, I don't know where I'm going or what's happening. They finally corralled a few people going to America, and they kind of shove us off to the side, and this guy comes up and he's like, give me all your passports. And we're like, do we need to? I don't know you. I don't know if I really want to give you my passport. Gave him my passport though, and he said, okay, we're gonna take care of getting your new flight for you along with getting you a hotel voucher because you're gonna be stuck in Doha now for at least 13 to 20 more hours. And I'm like, cool. 45 minutes later, he comes back with my passport and my name is a little bit long, and so it cut off part of my middle name, and my middle name is Gage, and the E got cut off. So he walks up and he goes, Miss Charlotte Gag? I was like, sir, nope, but please give me my passport back, it's fine. So the voucher they gave us was something, 1, for immigration to stamp, 2, it had our hotel listed on it, and 3, there was a food voucher to use at the hotel as well. So at least they took good care of us, but the whole process of getting to that, insanely chaotic. And again, mind you, I'm flying on this sprained ankle by myself and have been incredibly delayed. And I stupidly assumed that there would be a hotel shuttle to take us. Wrong. They just shoved me and 3 random grown men into a car. So after they shoved me in a car with 3 random grown men, they bring us to a hotel, and when we had landed, they had made the announcement, hey, by the way, it's Ramadan, you cannot eat or drink in public. And I'm like, I don't know what time it is, I don't remember the last time I ate, I am just a mess. And so I knew that I was either going to have to force myself to take a nap and go to sleep, or I was gonna have like a full Menti B. I really haven't slept much in 2 days at this point, and so I took a 4-hour nap, and then I forced myself to get up. The sun had already set, so fasting for Ramadan was over, so I knew that I could eat upstairs in the hotel restaurant, but I actually needed to get dressed again, so it was the journey of putting these compression leggings back on that, mind you, again, Filipino size medium. So this is the face of exhaustion, emotion, and absolute discomfort. My new flight is at 1:35 a.m., so we leave the hotel at 11 p.m. to head back to the airport, and at least it's a nice ride on the way over, but my body clock is just so thrown off at this point. Finally make it back to the airport. As I'm going through security, I run into the Australian guy that I sat next to that bodged his nose up on the flight yesterday, but this was Michael and this was Michael, the 2 men that I was running through this journey with. And something to note is that the Doha airport has no quiet hours. They are just always constantly going. So this is at midnight. This is the energy in the airport. Finally, board my flight. A few hours in, I was getting up and stretching because, again, on my ankle, needed to keep it elevated or stretch and walk. And at least we got a nice sunrise because I was greeted by something not so pleasant after. 4 hours into a 14.5-hour flight, I got up to go to the bathroom and saw that someone had vomited straight in the aisle. When I say I was this close to losing it, my goodness. After such a long flight, I'm feeling like I'm in the home stretch. We're ready to land. But of course, that's not where this story ends. Once we landed, I go through customs. I have global entry, so I go through pretty quickly. But then baggage claim gets really chaotic. They are sending out the bags on 2 different carousels because I don't know. So no one knows where to look. No one knows what's going on. And then a bag gets stuck and breaks the frickin' carousel. Because of course that would happen. Of course. Eventually, I was able to get my bag and make it home, but this took 4 days. 4 days of solo travel chaos on a sprained ankle. And that's just how travel is sometimes.
That's it for the solo travel trips from hell, which wasn't so much of hell, but we've seen and I know we've learned from different perspectives. But yes, in my opinion, I say just be careful, like we always say, do your research. And would I ever solo trip? Hell yeah, I would. I definitely would, because why not? I'm the type of person who I've learned how to enjoy my own company. I love my own company to the point where I'm feeling like, damn, I probably need to dabble back a little bit. Otherwise, I will be very comfortable and I will not want people around me for real. That's how it gets, because honestly, once you get to that position where you can chill with yourself, girl, I'm hilarious by myself, baby. I be cracking myself up by myself. I'll be laughing. I'll be like, ooh, Sandy, you are funny. See what I'm saying? Hold on. But no, y'all, on some real stuff, like I enjoy my own company, and I would appreciate, like, if you're a person who's independent, who likes to, you just want a free risk taker, because that's what I am. Like, yes, I definitely enjoy like group trips and stuff like that, or maybe just one more person, I don't know, maybe one more person, but like I'm a person who enjoys my company, and I like doing things on my own timing. Like, that's one thing, like, I don't know, like, I like doing my things, like, I will have my own itinerary, I do things on my stuff, like, if I want to do this, I'm doing this. And that's the most independent, nice feeling, because if you have somebody, bro, you gotta be on their schedule, how they feeling. They're not a morning person, they're late wake, they don't want to wake up early, they're missing excursions. It could be a lot having different personalities in the trip. But I definitely would solo trip, because I've learned a lot from this video. Definitely some was scary. Some people were saying it was lonely. Yes, it probably could get lonely, but like, if you have like things to do and you have yourself occupied, I don't think you could ever get lonely. Especially like me, I can say I'm an introvert and an extrovert at the same time, because I'm social as hell. Like, sometimes I love being introverted and just do my own thing, but sometimes, like, when I'm an extrovert, some people be like, damn, she a vibe for real. Yeah, because I can match your energy, baby. I surely can. I can adapt in any situation. Take me in any place of the world, tell me, bro, if I cannot adapt, I can. Like, literally, bro. If I have to learn your language, like, I'm so good at catching languages. Like, even this is something that my mama used to tell me when I was younger. She thought I would be a linguistic. If you don't know who a linguistic is, people who speak languages, easy to pick it up, and you like, because I was just like learning stuff. And I remember my dad would bring us even like Winnie the Pooh books, like from Germany, and they were all in German and stuff, and it was so easy for us to get that. So learning, like, I just love languages, so I feel like I could do it. Like, I could literally stay on a Duolingo app, landing an app, a language for a month, and I'm in your city, boo. What's up with it? Comment ça va? You feel me? See, baby, I would adapt to any situation, bro. Like, literally. But yeah, that's it for the solo trips. Y'all let me know if you guys would solo trip or you was scared of it. Yes, there's definitely some scare stories in there, but like, there's ways you can go around it. There's ways you could definitely go around it, especially if you do your research. Because at the end of the day, you are grown up. You can't, especially if you're a grown up, you're here by yourself. Imagine if your family was not there at all and you want to go somewhere. Like, you're going to be scared for the rest of your life not to go. Like, definitely gotta go out there. You gonna maybe make a friend there. Who knows? You just meet people. And me having my spirit like the way I am, definitely social but not naive. Like, I could be social with you, but like, I read your energy and I'll just be like, yeah, you party type, and you party type, that's where you are. Because there's some people who are party goers, people who are intellectual friends, and there's just people who are just, I'd rather not talk to you. Just playing. But anyway, y'all, nah, this one I'm rumbling. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Like, I will be dropping some more videos this weekend, so make sure you turn on your post notification bell as usual. Make sure you like the videos, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, share it up and all that. So I will be seeing y'all in the next video. Make sure you stay blessed. Bye.